What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is the first update video for 2019 and I know I'm using my webcam, but this is going to be a long video, well hence you can see the video length of this video. By the way, I'm still battling through and finding ways to recover my vocal dystonia, and I'll be going to see the hand specialist once again in a few weeks in London. But it is going very, very slowly, but I seem to have quite a bit of a better grip of my hand with the guitar pick. But the hand's still not better. But I'm still going to continue on and see if my hand is going to work out the way I want it to get things in my life back to normal and as a guitar player. Anyway, that's off topic. I have bought quite a lot of CDs for this update and a few records. So, I'm going to be showing you the CDs first, and let's get that going. The first one is Brainticket's album called Cottonwood Hill, and this is to me the biggest LSD trip than any other album that I've heard, period. The cover really suits it very, very perfectly. And if you haven't heard of this before, I guess you are really expecting a brutal trip. I don't know. But this is so psychedelic. It is jumbled with so much going on, from the guitars to the effects all over the place. So, if you're not ready for that yet, then this is not for you. But if you want to check out this kind of stuff, then I recommend it. And I really like this album a lot. I think it's a brilliant album. So, let's get on to CDs that I've bought from Swordfish Records and HMV. Stone Roses, Second Coming. This is their second and final album. I don't know if there are going to be many plans yet to hear from the bands that they will be releasing new material. I know they've made 2 new songs back in 2016, but nothing ever since. I really like this album. Some of the tracks need some getting into, like need to replay them better. And this is a hugely different and very, very underrated album, because not many Stone Roses fans really appreciated it as much as their iconic debut album. But this has some brilliant songs on here, and John Squire as a guitar player, I think he sounds amazing on this album. Some really good lead playing. And the next one is Oasis, Dig Out Your Soul. Now that I've completed my Oasis discography on CD, not on vinyl yet, I haven't played this one yet, and I did remember watching a making of documentary of this album on YouTube a long while ago, but I'm looking forward to hear that one. So, the CDs I got from HMV. Opeth, Still Life. This is a Peaceville Records pressing from 2008. Well, a remaster, I should say. But I would really like to have more Opeth in my collection. And this has been celebrated as one of their best albums. And some of the artwork that they've included, you know, it's like Pink Floyd's album covers. They are beautiful and very well detailed, and Still Life is known as one of their best albums. So that's Still Life. Oasis, again, with their live album, Familiar to Millions. This is known as the highlights version because of the tracks that were like the best ones to choose from their performance at Wembley Stadium. And I don't have the 2 CD version, because that is really the collection of songs that is like the full track listing, and the cover of this was red as well. And Liam was drunk out of his arse during this live album's experience, which can be a little bit of a turn off for me because the sound of the band sounds really, really good, and the production is awesome as well. But I really do like Familiar to Millions, although I have heard better live albums than that one from other bands. But Familiar to Millions is a very good one nonetheless. Judas Priest, Sin After Sin. This is a part of the remasters, and I would really like to have a lot more Priest in my collection like I do with Black Sabbath. But Judas Priest, still one of my favourite metal bands of all time, and I'm seriously lacking their discography in my collection. I know that's terrible, but I am looking forward to play this one. And really cool cover art, by the way. The next one is from an artist that I got to know after buying this album. I have known the name before, but not the music, until I played this album twice, because this is only half an hour long. This is Aphex Twin. This is Richard D. James, which is his name, by the way. And this is like international dance music, but with some very glitchy kind of effects. A lot of samples in Aphex's music, like introducing from DJ Shadow. But this has a lot more going on than DJ Shadow's music. So, yeah. That is that one. And the next one is from a band that one of my friends and subscribers, Motley, also known as Pecky Peck on YouTube, recommended this band to me since he loves them. And this is Wishbone Ash with Argus. This is the one with 3 bonus tracks. So this is a re-release, remaster from 2002. Yeah, I have heard of Wishbone Ash before, but not enough, so I would like to get into them more. And the next one is Gojira, The Way of All Flesh. I wanted to come back to this band since I have just decided to play Magma. The album blew me away. It was very personal, but it has some of their best tracks in a long while. And I do have L'Enfant Sauvage on CD as well. I have heard some of their previous albums, but not this one yet. And I know that Gojira was one of the first metal bands that I ever gotten into when I was getting into metal, well, music in general. And sorry for the glaring that happened during this video, I apologise. Now, the last CD, along with 2 more that I bought from eBay, I decided to come back to Neil Young since he's one of my biggest inspirations of all time in rock. And this is the one that I bought from HMV, and the other 2 are from eBay. This is Mirrorball with the members of Pearl Jam. And I think this is a very, very good album. Although Eddie Vedder did not participate throughout all of the tracks, he did backing vocals on one of the tracks because he was having a bit of problems with someone stalking him at the time, so he didn't leave his house and be involved in the studio sessions with the rest of the band and Neil Young that much at all, which is quite unfortunate. But this is a very raw and I would say so overlooked album in Neil Young's discography, and this has some really great tracks on here that are just effective and catchy. And Neil Young with Pearl Jam, brilliant match. And I know that the band are big fans of Neil, so they deserved it. Live Rust. I've just played this not too long ago, and this is fantastic. This was around the time of the Rust Never Sleeps tour, and I really like the back cover, especially with Jimi Hendrix right there as a button on his strap. But the sound of this is wonderful. My favourite live album from Neil and Crazy Horse is Weld, and this is a live album that has been very beloved and celebrated, and for good reason too, because this is awesome. And this is Roxy Tonight's the Night live, and I really, really like this. This is just amazing. This was at the time when Neil was with his musicians called the Stray Gators, and they've been taking the drugs and the alcohol, yet been writing the material that would become the album of Tonight's the Night. And this live album, production-wise, sound-wise, is amazing. And it is another one that I really recommend if you want to get into some of his live albums. I would pretty much prefer this than Live Rust. Although Live Rust is brilliant, but I really like this one just like a tiny tad bit more. So, that is that for the CDs, and let's get on with the records. Now, the first one that I want to show, I completely forgot to show from, I think, my second to last or my third to last update from last year, that I bought this along with other records from one of the record conventions that I've been to. This is an original pressing of Faust 4. This is my favourite album from Faust, and this is on the Virgin label from 1973, and it plays perfectly. This is one of my all-time top favourite krautrock albums, and that's what it looks like. Yeah, so Virgin is one of my favourite labels of all time, and if you want to get into Faust, I would start with this one or maybe their first two albums, but I'm very happy to have this. This original krautrock magnum opus, one of the best albums of all time. Now the last four I bought from Swordfish Records, although I'm going to show you this one that was a gift, a Christmas present from Melvin, along with this album. I also received this double album set of Ozric Tentacles Herb songs. I did mention about Melvin before when me and him went to see Sparks live back in 2017. This is really, really cool stuff. And they are a British progressive sort of jamming, improvisation, space rock kind of band. And what this is that these tracks were originally recorded on cassette tape, and they got eventually pressed to vinyl for the very first time. And the sound quality on some of them, as you would expect from a normal sounding cassette tape, like low quality, lo-fi sounding, but not all of it. Some of it sounds really, really cool, and I like the artwork. This is an actual pressing back in 2015 from Madfish Records. There's the logo right there. I apologize for the sun that is being glaring in this video as well, but it's a very bright day today. Anyways, well, spring's coming, that's why. But anyway, this is brilliant stuff. Anyway, back to Swordfish Records. This is an unofficial pressing, yet again with unofficial pressings, of Terry Riley's A Rainbow in Curved Air. And this is an album that will be 50 years old. And I mean, look at the color of that. It's like an ugly, uh, tedious, like green brownish kind of color. And the actual, well, typical color from Columbia Records is like red. But this is one of the must-have electronic albums that I would advise you to listen to. Well, to collect first and listen to. The first half, the title track is just an improvisational, electronic, classic piece of work, and the second half is like tape music, like some of the like experimental kind of sound. You know, it's like similar to No Pussyfooting from Fripp and Eno. It reminds me of that album in a way, but that is A Rainbow in Curved Air. The next one is an actual pressing of the Cosmic Joker's self-titled, and this is from a label that I've never heard of before called Klimt uh, from France, and it's on blue vinyl. And sound quality wise is like a little bit quiet, which I thought was a little bit of a gripe, but I really like what I was hearing. Beautiful color. This is like some very long, spaced out, drony, improvisational, psychedelic material. And this band is very overlooked, not as highly popular like the other ones, but I really like this album. This is brilliant. This is a 2010 remaster of Noise' self-titled album, and this sounds brilliant. This is one of the most important yet must-have albums, in the krautrock genre. It is on white coloured vinyl, and that's what it looks like. This record is quite a bit of a pain to get in and get out from the sleeve. Sound quality wise is wonderful, and of course, if you don't know some German bands, then I recommend Neu, along with some of the other German greats of Embryo, Can, Faust, Tangerine Dream, and Guru Guru. You know, many of the other obvious greats. Now the last one. I was so thrilled to have this. This is the 2018 remaster of Brian Eno's Ambient 1 Music for Airports. I absolutely cherish this album. The sound is out of this world, very gentle. It is a beautiful and soothing album to listen to. This, as always, as I said before, is my favourite Eno album in his discography. And not only it comes with that sleeve of the information about the album, but it also contains a MP3 slip of downloading the album from MP3, which I really don't use at all. I think it's just so annoying that a lot of these newly remastered albums contain that kind of thing when it comes to remasters. But this is like the original, and playing wise, no problems whatsoever. And I really like the way it looked. It's like the original album. But if you want to get into some of Eno's albums, then to me this is no exception. But there is another great selection of albums that I would recommend, like Here Come the Warm Jets, Another Green World, to some of his later stuff, even some collaborative stuff with Robert Fripp and David Byrne. But this is still, to me, one of the greatest albums of all time. So that is that, guys. I know this is a very long video, and it has to be done. I'm very glad that I did it anyways. I will be back to do more of these updates. So I think for my next album review, I think it would have to be possibly Megadeth's Euthanasia or the Rolling Stones' Some Girls. I'll have to think about it. Anyway, I'm waffling on. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.